Power Rangers Prime issue 1 is now out, and I really wanted to like this. I really, really did. Welcome to the Legacy of Nerd. My name is Daniel, and we're here to talk about Power Rangers Prime issue 1. So, this book was announced a couple of months ago. It was off the heels of the end of the Power Rangers main comic book universe that ended very blah. Like it wasn't good. It was sloppy, it was rushed. It was clear that, that wasn't really thought out as if, there was any thought on how to close that. Unless we comes down later we find out that they had to, basically cut out like 6 or 7 issues that they didn't anticipate to cut out, which is a big possibility. And I don't think a lot of people talked about the end. I think there was more hype about the announcement that it was going to end rather than people talking about it, because I think people kind of just like the last 3 issues, people just kind of checked out because it wasn't good. So we got this new universe. We've been hearing that's going to incorporate different characters from the Power Rangers universe, which I know a lot of the diehards were happy about because a lot of people want them to stop focusing on Mighty Morphin, even though that's what sells. But regardless, we got this new Power Rangers Prime comic book, and yeah, so there's some things I like about it. There is some things I like about it, but what do you what do they used to say on Young Justice? What did Robin say? Like, I'm whelmed.
First time at the hall. I'm a little overwhelmed.
You're overwhelmed. Freeze was underwhelmed. Why isn't anyone ever just whelmed?
I'm very whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm whelmed. I think that's the best way to describe how I feel about this book. Now, it's a setup book. It's a number one issue. Um, I don't think there were going to be anything big for this to happen, but also I think Power Rangers Prime is also going to be a filler book. Like, it's something to keep on the shelves while Hasbro figures out whatever they're figuring out for Power Rangers. So, um, and I don't think this is the future. I think this is just something to have out. Now, I do think this could have been used as a great opportunity to show what Power Rangers could be, but I think they just decided to do something different, which is fine. So, just talking about the book real quick, this is in a different universe than the main comic book universe or from the show as well. Um, we start off the book with Lauren Shiba, the Red Samurai Ranger, being hunted. And that I do like. I like the idea of a ranger being hunted. That's cool. She's being hunted by these forces, and she hides at a dumpster until she is found by this kid who saves her and I guess, hides her in his apartment, and then he goes to school the next day. And we find out that he's a refugee. That we find out also at school that the Altarians basically rule Earth now. 70 years prior, there was a Beast Brigade that came to Earth. Earth didn't know how to handle these alien forces, but the Eltarians came from above like heroes, saved Earth, but in the process colonized Earth and took over every aspect of it while sharing their technology, so Earth felt like they were getting something in return. So, like, this is a police state, very much so. We also find out the Altarians didn't really like Power Rangers very much. Don't really explain why. They just didn't. We find out Lauren Shiva's backstory that, the Samurai Rangers have been around. They were fighting their fights. There have been other Ranger teams around. But like I said, they didn't really like Power Rangers. The Altarians didn't. So they rounded up all the Rangers, and they're gone now. There was a really interesting scene of Lauren Shiva running away as a child, and we see her dad and Jaden, it looks like, being taken away or possibly executed. I think the executed would make it a little bit more interesting, but we'll see how that turns out. I doubt they actually did that. But we find out in this school that there's a new, character as well. That's the son of the Admiral of Altarian. I think his name is like June or something. He doesn't seem very much invested in the Altarian police state. He maybe kind of like a better person than most. We see him go down to the track and field, and we're introduced to a character named Ryan. And we find out this is, in fact, Ryan Steele from VR Troopers. They brought in VR Troopers to the Power Rangers comic book. Do like that. Just don't really like the way they did that. Because in this comic book, they're saying that the VR Troopers are the heroes. They're taking the place of the Power Rangers. And, it's a police force in itself. And there's even training to get to be able to become a VR Trooper. They call it trooper training. It's pretty cool. But I'm not digging, like, not them being used together. I guess if there's the introduction of VR Troopers, I want to see, like, an original meeting of the Power Rangers and the VR Troopers, but this is what we're getting instead. But either way, VR Troopers being the Power Rangers, that's cool. So, they go on with the book, and people are still looking for Lauren Sheba. She's in this apartment, and then we find out this kid's roommate is Orion from Super Mega Force, the Silver Ranger. He's not a ranger. He seems to be a displaced refugee, which a lot of the characters seem to be either refugees or colonizers. And they all come from different planets, but no one seems to remember their past very well. Again, it's the first issue of a new series. I'm not going to get much reveals as far as like the big reveals. Although I would have liked something, a little something. Maybe the VR Troopers was supposed to be a reveal. I know they got spoiled. So going on with the book, the police force have cornered Lauren Sheba to this apartment complex or this dormitory, and they corner this the kid that saved her. I think his name is Mark, and the June kid comes in, kind of tells the police force to go away because his mom's an admiral, so he can call some shots, and they go away. But he apparently knows about the Ranger. And one thing about this is like Rangers seem to be like a myth in this universe. Like the Altarians like eliminated them so much that the knowledge of them is kind of like bleak. So no one really understands like maybe what a Power Ranger is, or how, if they're really around, or if it's like a real thing, because the Altarians kind of erased that knowledge. So um he wants to meet the Ranger, and then there's a dumpster that crashes, and it's a very familiar space dumpster, and we see silver haired beautiful Rita come out in white with like painted color hands of Ranger colors, and she's saying like it's a new Earth, and it's clear that this is the Rita from the old comic book universe. And I'm already getting like the way that kind of happened. Like they built something in that, and with her transformation in the old comic book series, and we never saw the payoff from that. So obviously this is going to be the payoff from that. I'm already getting vibes she's gonna be like our Zordon surrogate now. Like she's a good guy now. That's the vibes I'm getting. Like she's gonna be like a spicy good guy, but she's not. I don't think we're gonna get the traditional Rita, which I think it's a little interesting aspect. Kind of predictable, I guess I would say. So I think there's a lot of predictable. There's a lot of those characters like Mark, June, and there's a character like Natalie that I think we're all gonna see become Rangers. Um, I don't know. This book was just it's kind of boring, honestly, and at least boring for me. I know, a lot of the Ranger fans that are out there that are not that really interested in Mighty Morphin, interested in the other seasons, are really happy they're seeing other characters being used, even though it was only like 3 characters. Um, I think there's some. I didn't really read the Altarian War, so I think there's some things with that I'm missing. So I think coming in fresh as a new reader on this book might be a little bit difficult. I don't. I just I think there was an opportunity here. If you were going to make a filler book, right? Show them what Power Rangers could be. What I would have done. I would have done a whole new story with whole new characters, Mighty Morphin inspired, but yet new designs. Not necessarily has to be dinosaurs, but familiarity, right? And I feel like Power Rangers is based off of nostalgia, and when you're not giving that, I don't think people really are interested in it, right? And then, let's be honest, like this book not having Mighty Morphin in it, I think it's not going to do as well as the previous series did, especially in the earlier books as well. And honestly, I've said this before, but the earlier books got to Shattered Grid way too quickly. They got to their end game way too quickly. And and that's unfortunate, because I think there was an opportunity there to build some things over years, but maybe they thought they wouldn't have the book forever, so they just wanted to tell the story as fast as possible. So that could have been a thing as well. Um, I again, it's issue 1. It's a lot of framework being built. I'm not really into it. I do like the Rangers being hunted, and there being like scarcely any Rangers. I think that's an interesting aspect. But beyond that, I don't know. I would have liked to see the VR Troopers meet the Rangers in a more traditional way, if you're going to finally introduce them. Not necessarily like this alt version of VR Troopers. That's just me. I think a lot of people are excited to see it, just to know that it can be brought in to the if they wanted to use it. So I think that's good too. But I just would have done it differently, or I would have hoped it was done differently. I'm not a creative genius to make a comic book, but yeah. I mean, do I think it's worth picking up? It's an issue 1. I think a lot of collectors need issue 1s in case it might be like a key book or something, and that's fine. If you issue 2, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I was going to come into this comic book series and be fresh about it. It's a new series. I can start from the beginning, and the first book just left me whelmed. So, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Did you guys pick up the book? Did you enjoy it? Do you have no interest in it? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.